So now that's happening, I want to say hello to everybody that is in the room. So we've got Lindsay Norwood here saying, woohoo! Yes, that's the energy that I like. We have got Natasha Dimitrova saying hello. We got Susan Cox tagging Joe Manor, Dr. Joe, as I call her. Emmylise, TCM Power Ranger, Emmylise in the house. Suze Cox is Halium. Hello, Suze. Lindsay says hello. Jodie Clark is here as well, saying hello, everyone. Jodie, let us know, how is the NLP course going so far? I would love to get your feedback. Zara King in the house. Zara King, that's a powerful name, isn't it? That's just like... that just screams presence, I think. You have a lot of presence when your name is Zara King. Zara says, hey, Liam. Hey, everyone. Leanne Jones says, good afternoon, beautiful soul. Oh, I really appreciate that, Leanne. I felt that. Oh, that gave me tingles. Jim Lutz in the house saying good morning because he is indeed in Chicago. Richie Simpson says, hey, mate, managed to catch you in the end. Was meant to have a practice client from my niche area, but they cancelled last minute. Don't be disheartened about that, Richie. You know, that does happen. You know, it still happens to me today. People cancel last minute on calls and coaching sessions and stuff like that. It's a part of the journey. And a lot of the time, one thing to really understand and really realize is that they're canceling due to some form of objection that they're trying to handle themselves. And one of the best things that we can do is encourage them to turn up to the call, even if they're nervous, even if they're scared, even if they don't know what to talk about, and just try to kind of curb those reasons as to why they are wanting to cancel in the first place. Joe Manor is here saying hello, hello. Viadis is in the house saying hello. Lindsay Nygate says, feels like ages since I was able to join a live. Lindsay is here, which I love. Akeisha Graham says, hey, everyone. Monica Dobruck says, hello, beautiful people. Natasha, you nailed it. Dimitrova. Oh, I like it. It's a cool name. Joe Manor says, I've had 3 awesome coaching sessions today. First one at 5:15 a.m. What a coaching legend. Well done, Joe. Nicola Flaherty says, woohoo, hey. Joe Manor says, I'm on such a high. Emmylise is here with the golden love hearts. Danielle in the house as well says, hello, my unbiological TCM family. But I asked Jodie Clark, how is the NLP course going? Now, of course, NLP is my baby. You know, I created that course from scratch. I deliver every single week, all 24 weeks. It's a 6-month-long course. Jodie says, it's amazing. Going way too quick. I will be sad when the NLP course is finished. Jodie, what week are you on now? Let me know. Joanna says, who would cancel a session with you, Liam? It does. It happens. And it's 100% down to the barriers and the objections that person is trying to handle at the time. We got Karina Karan saying, yo, yo, yo. Nicola says, so glad to be here. You're always full of knowledge. Thank you, Nicola. I hope that I'm going to be able to throw some of that knowledge in your direction today. Bettina says, hi. Bettina Aurora Dam. That's a powerful name as well, isn't it? Bettina Aurora Dam. That sounds like a successful coach. Jem Louise in the house. Jem Louise is a long-standing member of the Coaching Masters. Melinda Smith is here. Say hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry, Melinda. We're just having a little chat. Dr. Jim Lutz says 5:15 a.m. You could be a swim coach. Jim loves an early morning. Joe Manor says Team NLP. Richie, week 5 was a bit tricky, but got the swish technique now. Yep, it's an interesting one, NLP, because it really does take time to practice those techniques. And what I would say is continuously practice as well, even way beyond when the course is finished. Continuously practice those techniques because it's really very, very important. Jodie Clark, you're on week 14 already. My God, that does go quick, doesn't it? Leanne Jones says, NLP is life-altering and I'm only on week 8. I genuinely never want it to end. Well, don't worry, Leanne. As soon as the NLP's over, we got more courses for you. Don't worry about that. Claire Starr, big up the prison break. Yes, I get to watch today. Now, that means that Claire Starr is currently at work, but she's prison breaking right now. Bettina says, thank you. I chose my name myself. Love the Aurora. I love that so much. Rich Savage in the house says, yo, 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 what's up, peeps? Ellen Crotty says, Team NLP is on fire. Yes, guys, let me know what team you're a part of. Are you on the NLP course? Are you on the accreditation course? Are you on the Ultimate Launch? Are you on Course Creators? Are you on Holistic Modalities? Are you on all of them? Like Emmylise, TCM Power Ranger, are you on them all? So let's have a little chat with you guys in the comments and then I'll dive into the actual content of what we're talking about today. But this, I must admit, is one of my favorite bits, just talking to you guys. So Robin Lee Nichols. Now, I tell you what I love about Robin Lee. Robin Lee, you are consistently one of the most positive people I've met. And you are always there with the love and the support inside of the comment section in both Coaching Mastery and the Coaching Masters community on a consistent basis. And I love that. So I'm glad that you're here. And she said, NLP was the best thing I've ever done. Boom. Look at that. Yes, Robin. You know that's my baby as well, right? Of course it is. So Danielle says, can you still be part of the community group even when the course finishes? I'm on week 6 of the accreditation and the ultimate launch. Yes, you can, Danielle. That group is for Coaching Masters members. And as a Coaching Masters member, even when your course comes to an end, you will always still be part of the community. So don't worry about that. Natasha is on week 2 of the accreditation. Viadis is on week 7 of the accreditation. Jomana, NLP graduate and holistic modalities and course creator, she's on. Bettina, I do the self-study course at the moment, looking forward to more of the courses. So Bettina is talking about is, of course, the Coaching Masters membership, which is our self-study program. So yeah, Bettina, I'm very much looking forward to when you level up and you do one of the premium live interactive courses. That's cool. Sue says team workshop, but let's be honest, team NLP biased, of course. Who likes this Bourneville then? Robin says best chocolate ever. Bettina says yum yum. And Lindsay says the raisin one. Yeah, they do a raisin and rum one, which I think is actually pretty nice. Rich says it's actually good for you, dark chocolate. That's good to know. Emily's holistic launch and ultimate launch and holistic modalities at the moment, Emma. But of course, you are a TCM Power Ranger. Ellen Crotty, it has to be dark. Look, we've actually got a lot of Bourneville lovers. I love it. Melinda says accreditation graduate, NLP week 18, and holistic modalities. Wow, you're setting yourself up to have a very strong coaching business right there. Well done for that, Melinda. That's really cool. Action Rich says in the right amounts, of course. Monica Dobrak, course creator, very soon for me, which is great. I love. Cool, nice one, guys. Well, I love talking to everybody. Claire Louise just started holistic modalities. Kate Godwin completed accreditation. I meant to say. Viadis, it says dark chocolate's the healthiest chocolate. Love it. Let's stay healthy, ladies and gents. Now, let's dive into today's content. Let's dive into the Coaching Masters podcast as we normally do. Everybody who listens to the Coaching Masters podcast, welcome back. And everybody that watches me record the Coaching Masters podcast completely 100% live inside of Coaching Mastery, which is our only one coaching Facebook group that's completely free, right? So that's really important that we emphasize that, because here at the Coaching Masters, of course, naturally, we have the Coaching Masters community, which is a very, very important Facebook group. It's way more than just a Facebook group. It is where all of our community members spend time. All of our Coaching Masters members spend time. But we also have Coaching Mastery. And so if you're listening to this on the podcast and you don't actually know what that is, then go onto Facebook, click on that little search bar at the top, type in the words Coaching Mastery for online coaches, and join the group, join the community. It's completely free and it's open to everyone. And this is where I record the podcast episodes every single week, completely 100% live. And I try to drop as much knowledge as I can out of my head, out of my mind, out of my past experiences, into this group and into the podcast episode to help all of you coaches and budding coaches go out there and create very successful online coaching businesses. And the reason why I want that, there's a few different reasons. One, I'm a firm believer that the more coaches we have in this world, the world will be a better place, because as a coach, you have learned a set of tools and techniques and methods that allow you to not only understand how your own mind works in relation to your body and in relation to your goals and your values, but you also learn that about other people. And if we can develop that higher sense and that elevated sense of understanding, then naturally the world is going to be a better place, right? Now, one thing that I think you probably have noticed up until this point, it's very rare for me to touch on current events inside of the podcast. You know, I always just try to stay in the lane of adding value inside of the coaching space. But, you know, the date is the 3rd of March, 2022. And of course, at the moment, there is a war that we're witnessing. And without going into the details of that, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine. what that shows me, again, is the reasons as to why it's really important that we have more people in this world that have that coaching mindset and that elevated sense of understanding for our fellow person, for our fellow man, and for our fellow woman. And so this is why I want to try to create as many coaches in this world as possible so that we can have more people that have that elevated sense of understanding for each other and for ourselves. And at the same time, I want to be able to help you become successful. I'm a firm believer that when we build success and we build money and we do so in a way where we're exchanging value that's really honest and true and highly valuable to another person, then what we do is we're able to build a life that is meaningful to us and meaningful to other people. And it gives us the opportunity to really maximize the amount of time that we've got on this planet. I calculated the other day that on average, right, give or take, if I live to 100, I've got roughly about 25,000 days left until I'm gone. And that may sound like a lot, but in reality, those days go pretty quick, all right? They go pretty quick. And I think I've lived to like 11,000 already or something like that. So really, I want to try to maximize as many of those as I possibly can. And I want to try to help everybody else maximize those days as much as you possibly can. Now, there are going to be people listening to me that have more days. There are going to be people that have less days, and we don't ever know our exact day. That's obviously only if I actually am fortunate enough to live to 100, which I think as long as I don't get hit by a car or something, I've got a pretty good shot based on the fact that, my little grandmother, Bridie, turns 100 this year and she's flying. Like, she is proper healthy, which is amazing. But anyway. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to be talking about quite an interesting topic. Now, the title of today's podcast is 5 reasons why your coaching business isn't working. Okay, now I'm sure there are going to be lots of people that are interested in this topic because there are, without a shadow of a doubt, going to be people that are either watching me live or listening to this on the podcast thinking, I would like my coaching business to be more successful. Like, I would like my coaching business to be doing better than it currently is. And so good news, if you're one of those people that are thinking that, then no fear. I'm going to go over 5 different reasons as to why a coaching business, and I'm not speaking directly to anyone because obviously I don't know the individual status of the people that are listening to the podcast, but I'm going to go over 5 different reasons why a coaching business may not be working. And of course, just to give you a little insight, why have I called it such a strong title? Why have I said 5 reasons why your coaching business isn't working? To give you complete clarity and complete insight and transparency, the reason it's called that is because it's way more clickable. It's a lot more clickable than if I said, let me give you a couple of tips to maybe increase some of the success within your coaching business if it's not quite doing as well as what you would like right now. Let's just go, boom. I'm just going to give you 5 reasons why it's not fucking working. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, my coaching business is working, it isn't as successful as I would want it to be at this point, I've just got some work to do, this is still going to be helpful for you. So let's go over the details. Now, point number 1, right? Reason number 1 as to why your coaching business may not be working. And this is especially going to be for those individuals that listen to the podcast or watch the lives, but they have not yet become part of the coaching masters, right? This is for you in particular, because this is a really dead serious thing, right? This is very, very fucking real, okay? Now, the chances are, one of the reasons as to why it's not currently working is because you've not learnt from somebody who has actually done it. Now, that may sound obvious and it may sound simple, but I absolutely cannot stress that one enough, right? There are many, many people that will teach something in which they have not mastered or monetized. Now, the reason why I use those 2 words as a real emphasis is because me and Lewis and everyone here at the Coaching Masters, but really the premise of where me and Lewis came from and how we first started this, which, by the way, I don't know if I even mentioned this last week. Anyway, February 16th, 2019 was when me and Lewis met each other. So literally just over 3 years ago. I think maybe I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, a couple of weeks ago, it was the 3-year anniversary of me and Lewis actually meeting for the first time ever, the first time ever. And we pretty much immediately came up with the idea for the Coaching Masters the very first moment that we met. And it was a really significant moment. We'd been chatting a little bit over Instagram and text message and stuff like that. And, I recognized there was another young coach who was doing some big things. And so I reached out to him and we had a bit of a chit chat. And then he came to my apartment in London and we had a coffee and we had like a 4-hour chat. And we pretty much came up with the idea for the Coaching Masters in that exact moment. So if you think about the amount of progress that can be made within a short amount of time when you're on the same mission as someone else and you're willing to put in the work and have that level of passion and drive and focus, and your values are the same. We valued the same things. We valued freedom. We valued contribution. We valued the mission that we was on and being remembered and doing something great. So with that in mind, one of the reasons as to why TCM has been so successful is because it has been built upon the shoulders of my experience and Lewis's experience being two individual people that have actually followed the steps required to build very successful coaching businesses. The reason as to why I'm emphasizing that so much is because I can pretty much guarantee that the vast majority of other coaching academies, you will be taught by somebody who, one, is just employed by the company that teaches them, right, that delivers these courses, but you're going to be taught by somebody who hasn't built a successful coaching business. And that is really significant. That's really key, because other organizations can teach the techniques, right? They can teach like the different models and the different methods and the different frameworks. But when it comes to you crossing that line and saying, right, well, I know this now, but how do I actually put it into practice? How do I actually go out there and get paying clients? How do I actually build a coaching business? They're not going to know the answer to that question because they're not going to have done it themselves. That is where they're going to be completely stumped. So this is why the first point is really very, very, very important, because what I notice a lot of, and I see this outside of the Coaching Masters all of the time, I see people on this kind of constant, it's almost like they're springboarding from one training company to another, to another, to another, thinking that the next qualification they get from the next training company, teaching them the next set of coaching techniques, is going to be the thing they need in order to make their coaching business a success. But what they're doing is, as they're jumping from place to place to place, they're gathering more and more knowledge and more techniques about how to coach people. And along the way, they're not picking up any knowledge required to know how to actually make money as a coach. And those two things are very different. They're two completely different skill sets. Knowing how to coach people is part A, and knowing how to make money as a coach is part B. And for any of those people that have had an individual one-on-one chat with me, like over the last few months, I'm always talking about this a lot, as much as possible, because I think it's a huge thing. It's a massive thing. To give a shout out here, and I love the bravery and I love the vulnerability and I love the honesty. I'm just all about that here at TCM. I'm all for it. Claire Louise in the comments just now said, "You've just described me." And you know what, Claire? You're not alone in any way whatsoever. Because the misconception there is, look, come to our academy. We'll teach you how to become a successful coach by teaching you how to coach people. It's part A, and they're missing part B. It's just part of the journey. And so you have to ask yourself, when it comes to those other individual coaching academies, and you know what, I'm not here to name names. I don't need to name names, because in all honesty, based on the research that I've done, of course, which is a lot over the years, there isn't anyone else that's teaching the complete step-by-step formula of what you need to become a coach, make money as a coach, up-level your coaching skills, and then eventually move away from coaching. There isn't any other organization that has that complete solution for coaches. So the reason why I don't need to name names is because I'm basically just talking about everyone else from what I've seen, right? So you have to ask yourself, in that instance, where if I'm kind of hopping from academy to academy and place to place, being told that if I get this next level of qualification and I develop these next set of techniques to use with my clients, then in that moment, that's where I'll become successful. Why are none of them teaching me how to get clients? And I have an answer for you. They don't know. They don't know how to get clients. They don't have the skill set. They don't have the experience. They don't have the steps, right? So this is the first reason as to why your coaching business may not be working. And like I mentioned, this is going to be primarily for those individuals that's outside of TCM, the coaching masters, because those people that study within the coaching masters, they have the ability to go through our courses and learn those different steps, and there's also a hell of a lot of that info to get you started, at least inside of the coaching masters membership. But that's the reason. That's the first reason, because you haven't learned from someone who actually knows how to do it, who's then passing you on their knowledge and their experience. That's the first thing. Let me just dive into the comments here, because I love, during the podcast, I love diving into the comments and just chatting to everybody in the room. Just says, that's why I'm here. Love it. I love that's why you're here. Sinead says, that is also me. And she's saying that to Claire Louise. Dana says, and me. I started an online program and paid for which at the time I couldn't afford. And let me know, Dana, what was that online program in? Just let me know. Joe says, couldn't agree more. Coaching is one skill and building a business is another. Karina says, yes, this is so true. That's why it's great to grow, learn, but let it settle, then practice. Even though I do this, it's hard not to get distracted when you see or hear others doing this or that. It's all great stuff, good advice. And Karina says, I just know sticking with TCM has paved my route strong. The team, the courses, and the incredible teacher. Appreciate that, Karina. Then we have the community to embed it. Robin says, building a coaching business is a whole different ballgame. Claire Louise says, time for ultimate launch after holistic modalities. No doubt, Claire. For everyone listening to this and thinking, what is that? The ultimate launch program is our one premium live interactive course that is solely designed to help you build a business and get a steady stream of paying coaching clients. That's how you learn how to actually get clients, through the Ultimate Launch Program. Viadis says, I wasn't planning to go elsewhere. I love that. Okay, so again, what we always need to do is we always need to make the distinction between a course that teaches you how to coach people and a course that teaches you how to actually make money as a coach. Two very, very different things. We have both at TCM, and we were always going to do that. That was always the plan, because we thought, how could we possibly be another one of those coaching academies that just teaches people the skill sets of coaching without teaching them how to actually turn it into a business? So Melinda says, my Facebook is filled with adverts from other coaching companies, but they're wasting their time. TCM all the way. They're wasting their ad budget as well, Melinda, by the sounds of it, which is good for us. Kate Godwin, I just finished the Ultimate Launch. It was amazing. I love that, Kate. Incredible. Danielle says, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else, coaching program wise, which is cool. Vanessa, excited for the Ultimate Launch. Then I'm doing the NLP after that next year, which is great. And Monica says, that's why I signed up for the bundle after doing the accreditation, because I knew it was only the first step, which is awesome. So guys, that's the first one, right? The first reason is that you've not learned from someone who's actually got the results, which we've always tried to come at it from that point of view when it comes to TCM, right? We will show you how we've got the results, and then we'll show you how you can do the same thing. Mastering something and monetizing something. So I touched on that earlier, and I just want to really emphasize what that means. So all of the things that we teach at the Coaching Masters, we don't teach anything until we've mastered it and monetized it. So every single one of our courses is based upon real life experience of us having gone out there and studied it and mastered it and practiced it and got to a point where we're like, yep, we know everything there is to know about this one topic. Then we've tested it by monetizing it and turning it into a business and generating income from it. And then we say, yep, we know how to do that as well. I'll give you a great example of that. Just think about the 18-week course creator blueprint course that we've got at TCM. We only created that course once we had already made over $1 million from selling courses online. And then at that point, we were like, well, we've mastered it, we've monetized it. Now let's go and teach other people how to do it. That's the first thing. The second reason as to why your coaching business may not be working is that you have yet to pick a niche. And this is really very, very important. Now, I know that feels like a burden. It feels like one of those more excruciating parts of the process, because there's a lot of limiting beliefs that come with this. There's the idea of, what if I pick the wrong niche? Or there's the sense that I'm passionate about multiple things and I want to help multiple people. And there's that limiting belief. Now, this is going to sound really interesting because it sounds like an empowering belief, but in this instance, it's not. There's that limiting belief, but I can help everybody. So why would I limit the amount of people that I'm going to help down to a smaller number? Wouldn't that limit opportunities for me, right? So Let's just dig into this a little bit, right? And now for those people that have already picked their niche and they're committed to it and they're running with it, this could still be very helpful as a reminder as to the reasons as to why that's important. And for those individuals that are still struggling with that and they're still battling with it, then maybe this is going to be quite good to give you a little bit of an insight into the importance as to why we have to pick one. Now, this is why it's really important. Let's use the example of the surgeon. If for those people that have spoken to me one-on-one, you'll know what I'm talking about. I love this example, and I think it is just a very simple but very powerful example of what I'm talking about. Let's imagine for a moment, right, that you needed surgery. Emelise is in the chat, tagging Sandra Parton. I know Emelise is definitely going to have heard me say this before, and it's so very important. Let's imagine for a minute that you needed surgery. But not only that, you needed heart surgery. And let's imagine that there are two surgeons, right? Surgeon number one is a heart surgeon, and surgeon number two does a bit of heart and does a bit of brain and does a bit of lung and does a bit of everything, right? Does a bit of everything. Now, surgeon number two, who operates on everyone and operates on every major organ, in their mind, they're thinking, my opportunities are wide open, because I'm not singling my skill set down to a particular type of surgery or a particular type of person or a particular major organ. That means that I'm going to be wildly successful because I've got this array of opportunities that I'm leaving wide open. Yet, the heart surgeon in that instance will always be more successful and will always be able to charge more money and will always have a much, much longer waiting list. Why is that? That is because if you need heart surgery, you are not going to go to the generalist. You're not going to go to the jack of all trades who says, yeah, I do operate on hearts as well as lung, brain, stomach, and all these other things. Yep, I do operate on hearts. It's one of the many things I operate. You're not going to go to that person because you're thinking, hang on a minute, my fucking heart is pretty important to me. I want to make sure that it's in the hands of someone who only operates on hearts. I want to make sure it's in the hands of someone who doesn't think about anything else, doesn't speak about anything else, doesn't write about anything else, and doesn't have any experience in anything else apart from operating on hearts, because that's what I need. So in that case, I'm going to go to that surgeon. I'm going to wait a lot longer and be put on a longer waiting list, and I'm going to pay a lot more money because that is where I know I'm going to be looked after, right? Now, let's imagine for a moment, you needed heart surgery in the upper left chamber of your heart. Surgeon number one is a heart surgeon, and surgeon number two is a heart surgeon that only operates on the upper left chamber. That's all they do. They don't do anything else, right? Now, this person, this surgeon, is all they ever speak about, right? When they're being interviewed on television, when they're being interviewed on radio, when they're on a talk show, whatever, right? They do not speak about anything apart from the upper left chamber of the heart. They are an out and out expert in that one particular area of the heart. They've written multiple books on the topic. It's all they ever write about. Books, blog posts, tweets, Facebook posts, whatever, right? Whatever format there is to write about this one thing, they write about it. It's their world, right? It's what they're known for. Right? It's the one area in which they also endeavor to build a shit ton of authority. But I'm going to come on to that in a minute because that's actually point number 3. Now, let's imagine for a moment you need heart surgery in the upper left chamber of your heart. You're going to feel comfortable in the hands of the heart surgeon, but you're going to be feeling a hell of a lot more comfortable in the hands of this person who quite clearly is the go-to person in the field of operating on the upper left chamber of your heart. Once again, you're going to be put on a much longer waiting list and you're going to be willing to pay a lot more money because that person has exactly what you need. Now let's imagine for a minute, there's a person that operates on the upper left chamber of hearts. It's all they do. And they only operate on women, right? If you're a woman that needs heart surgery and the upper left chamber of your heart, you're even more likely to go to that person. Because what that person's doing is they're picking a niche, which means they're becoming a specialist in a particular area, therefore moving as far away from being a generalist as possible, right? And they're saying, this is me. This is what I do, right? You're in safe hands because I don't think of anything else. I don't talk about anything else. I don't write about anything else. I only do this. And that is what you need. Now, the reason why that's so important is because a lot of the time, what people do, especially coaching clients, right? A lot of the time, coaching clients have this misconception that they cannot be helped, right? Everybody is 100% unique, but coaching clients think that they're unique in the sense that everyone else can be helped, but I can't be helped. My problems are too bad. My experiences are too bad. I'm too far gone. No one can help me, right? So then all of a sudden, when you've got an individual that comes along and says, hang on a minute, I only help people like you. I don't help anyone else. I only help you and people like you with this exact problem, overcome these exact fears and achieve these exact desires. That's all I do. Then all of a sudden, everybody that fits into that category wants to go to you. That's the power of the niche, right? Never fall into the trap of saying, yeah, but now I can help everybody because I've got these amazing skills. So I'm going to go and help everybody. And what you do is you end up being that surgeon that says, I can operate on hearts and lungs and brains and everything. Please let me help you. And you've got people going, fuck no, I'm not putting my life in your hands. Hell no, because you're not enough of a specialist. So that's what we're wanting to do, is we're wanting to become specialists in particular fields, right? Another reason as to why that's actually a really very important thing for you to do is it makes your life so much easier, way easier. Now, why is that? That's because all of a sudden, you only need to be focused on this one particular area, right? You only need to get to know and get into the headspace of a particular type of person in a particular profession of a particular age range, particular demographic. And all you need to do is really truly understand what those people are struggling with, what their fears are, what their apprehensions are, what their desires are, what their dreams are. And all you need to do is get to know one type of person. Now, getting to know one type of person is way easier than trying to know everybody, right? Trying to know everybody doesn't work because it's impossible to do so. So let's imagine for a moment as a coach, and this is just off the top of my head, but let's imagine that you helped women in their 40s who work in the financial sector who are going through a messy divorce. Let's just imagine for a moment that was your niche. So many people would think, my God, that's so specific and that's so refined that how could I possibly generate any interest? Well, if you're a woman in your 40s that works in the financial sector that's going through a messy divorce, who are you going to go to? You are only going to go to that one person who says, I help this one particular type of person overcome this one particular pain and achieve this one particular desire. What we need to understand is that seemingly very small group of people is actually huge, right? It possibly is millions of people around the world. I mean, I wonder how many women there are in their 40s that work in the financial sector who are going through a messy divorce. I would go as far as to say we're probably talking this in the millions, right? Because there are billions of people on this earth. And that is a huge sector. And obviously it's half the planet demographic. It's a huge amount of people within that age range. It's a huge amount of people within that sector. And divorce rate is going through the roof. I would go as far as to say, if you were to become the go-to person for that particular group of people in that particular sector, you are going to never be without clients ever again once you get to the point of being known as the go-to person. So anyway, that's point number 2. So point number 1, you may not have been taught by people that have actually been there and done it, right? But now you're here, you're part of the coaching masters. So come on in, welcome, come in. And point number 2 was that you very potentially at this point haven't picked your niche. Now, point number 3 is that you very potentially also have not gone through the process of building up authority inside of that niche. Now, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to give you a great example. A niche and authority come hand in hand. It is considerably easier to become an authority when you're wanting to become an authority in a very particular, refined niche, okay? It's essentially impossible to become an authority in the coaching space as a generalist because who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? Is it me? Is it someone else? I don't know. I don't understand. It is impossible to become an authority without really refining the niche. Now, I will give you a great example of authority, right? This person is not a coach, but is just a phenomenal example of how someone has absolutely found their niche and has built an authority inside of that niche, and therefore will never, ever again be without position and influence within that area, right? Let me know in the comments, have you ever heard of Bill Nye, the science guy, right? I know this is a fucking weird example, but just let me know in the comments, have you ever heard of Bill Nye, the science guy? And if you have heard of him, you'll know who he is. If you haven't heard of him, Google him, right? Now, why do I use Bill Nye as an example? Now, Bill Nye is someone who has spoken about science for the last 40 years or 50 years. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but he's been doing it a fucking long time, right? Bill Nye, the science guy. Now, even though we can definitely refine, let's say, for instance, your niche, the thing that you were known for, let's say that science was your niche of whatever it was you wanted to be known for, okay? Now, of course, science, we can refine that way down, right? But Bill Nye has been doing this for so long now. Back in the day, since he was doing it, science was enough of a niche for him to become known within that one particular field. So anyway, this guy is known for science, right? He talks about science, he writes about science, he gets interviewed about science, he's probably constantly thinking about science. Science encapsulates everything that this person is known for. Bill Nye, the science guy, right? Every time he ever writes a book, it's about science. Anytime he's ever interviewed, it's about science. Every social media post he ever puts out is about science. You won't ever find Bill Nye, the science guy, publicly talking about anything else apart from science. And that is because he has absolutely nailed his niche, right? Now, as far as authority goes, of course, he's been doing it a long time and he's constantly put himself in the position where he's talking about science. But how authoritative is it that he's already reached a stage where you think, Bill Nye, science guy, right? Bill Nye, the science guy. That is a great example of having built an authority inside a very particular space. He's the go-to person. He's one of the go-to people that you think of when you think science, right? Science, Bill Nye, the science guy. So anyway, even though he's not related to coaching in any way, it's a fantastic example of going into a niche and building your authority inside of that niche. Now, building your authority inside of a niche can be done in various different ways, right? And it's actually a lot easier than a lot of people think, because a lot of it is about storytelling. Now, storytelling I'm going to come on to in a minute, because that's actually point number 4. But I've got a story you may know, you may not know. And I don't know the exact dates around this. Someone can Google this for me. But the Mona Lisa, the painting that's in the Louvre, right, in Paris, known to be the most famous painting in the world, right? Okay, let's just put it that way. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's known to be technically, artistically, the most perfect painting, because that just doesn't exist, right? We're talking about art here. But anyway, the Mona Lisa, we all know what that is. Now, you may or may not know that the Mona Lisa was not famous in any way, right, for about 200 years after it was painted. No one paid any fucking attention to the Mona Lisa. No one thought it was revolutionary. No one thought it was the fucking best painting anyone's ever created in their lives until it was stolen. And when it was stolen, there was this huge media fucking storm at the time of the fact that this painting, along with all of these other paintings, had been stolen. And it was all anyone was ever talking about. It was a huge story at the time that it was nicked, right? And for those Americans amongst us, nicked means stolen. And then it was recovered. And once it was recovered, it was really fucking famous, right? Because it was the recovered painting from this theft. Then it was the Mona Lisa, right? So you can see where I'm trying to get with this. Story plays a huge part in authority building. That's where I'm going with this. And what I'm emphasizing here is that it's a lot easier to build a story around yourself than you may realize. It's a lot easier to build a presence around yourself than you realize. There's a few very short, sharp things that you can do to make it happen. One of them, which is just absolutely just so super simple and so key, and this is going to sound overly simple where you hear it and you just think, yeah, but that's just fucking, everyone knows that or whatever. But some professional photography, right? Never underestimate the power of professional photography. Emily says, someone come and steal me, please. So anyway, never underestimate the power of professional photography. The moment that a coach is looked in a professional light, right? I mean, I know it sounds fucking ridiculous to be talking about something so simple, but when you get those coaches that kind of use images of themselves that are a kind of small, grainy image that someone's taken on their phone, and then you get ones that look legit, we cannot help but gravitate towards those people that just have a heightened sense of authority based on the level of effort that has gone into something, right? This also comes down to, I'll give you another one that's just like actually very simple, but very, very powerful. Creating, Dennis says, doesn't sound ridiculous. It makes sense. It does make sense. Creating a community, right? Anyone can create a community. Anyone can do it, right? It's not some magic power. Doesn't cost any money. Anyone can go and create a community, whether that community is on LinkedIn, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's offline, and you just gather people together in a space to talk about a particular thing because you've got shared values. Now, you might be thinking, how do I know people that have shared values? Niche. People that are within your niche have shared values, right? That's one of the most important things about having a niche. So you see where all of these things connect, right? So when you have a niche and you know what your niche is, people within that niche have shared values. If you were to gather those people in one particular place, what you're doing is you're creating a community. If you're the one that created the community, that automatically makes you the community leader. That is authority. If you're the community leader that also has professional photos done and you look great, I just mean that a lot of effort has gone into the presentation of what it is you're showing people. These are little tiny building blocks that get so overlooked, right? Give you another great one. Writing an ebook, right, for your niche. Now, this is something that we teach on the Ultimate Launch program because, there is a process to this. Admittedly, it's not something you just click and do. There's a process that ensures that the ebook resonates specifically with your niche. And then it acts as a downloadable, which is all part of your sales funnel, which I won't go into that now. But for instance, is another thing that a lot of people think, I could never do that. But then the moment you've got professional photos and you've got a community and you've got an ebook and you reach out to people who have podcasts within the space of your niche and you ask them if they would like to interview you, which, little secret for you, a lot of people that run podcasts that have the interview style process are always on the hunt to interview people. Then all of a sudden you're building up an authority inside of that niche. It's not that hard to do. It's only hard to do it when you don't know what the niche is and therefore you don't know where to start. The first reason as to why your coaching business might not be working is because you possibly haven't learned from people who have actually got results, and I highly recommend you do that. The second reason is that you possibly haven't picked a niche, as we've spoken about is key. The third reason is that you possibly or probably haven't started building up an authority inside of that niche. And then point number 4, which assists with all of the other points, is that very possibly you're not telling your story. And this is something that a lot of people really shy away from big time, where they're like, yeah, but you know what? I want to make sure that like my Facebook profile is kept private and it's only for my friends and family. I want to make sure that if I have an Instagram account, I want it to be like a business Instagram account and it's all about the business and the business name and it's not really me. But you know what? There's no fucking story there. Even when you get these companies that tell the story about how the company was founded, no one gives a shit. No one cares. Like, honestly, I'll give you the best example of how you as a person and as an individual, as a personal brand, is way more powerful and way more influential than any business will ever be. Right? I'll give you a great example. Richard Branson, right? Richard Branson has so many different branches of Virgin. I've completely fucking lost count. Richard Branson as an individual, as a man, has more social media followers combined than all of his businesses combined. If you took every business that Richard Branson owns and you combine the amount of social media followers they have collectively, it still doesn't add up to the amount that he has as a person, as a man, right? That's because people follow people. People are inspired by people. Everybody that tunes in to listen to this once a week, to listen to the Coaching Masters podcast and to listen to Power Hour, you don't tune into this because you like our logo. Remember that. You don't tune into this podcast because you like the name, right? That stuff comes after. After you've been emotionally driven enough to realize that these are people that I can follow and these are people that I can learn from, now I'm going to justify that by saying, and you know what? I also like the logo. I also like the brand. I also like everything else that comes with it. But what we need to lead with is we need to lead with the people, the individuals, right? You are that individual. You have to tell your story. Now, here's another thing that a lot of people really overlook, right? You have to relentlessly tell your story on repeat, continuously, again and again and again and again. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of the time what people do is they say, oh, but I don't understand it. I told my story. I told it. It's like, you wouldn't fucking believe the amount of times that I've told my story on repeat, and it's the same story because it's my story. And that comes from that amazing bit of advice that I got years ago from Ed Milet, where he said, look, true professionals and very successful people tell the same story. They say the same thing on repeat all the time to different people. And those that are unsuccessful or non-professionals, what they have is they have the same small group of people and they try to tell different stories and different things to them all the time to keep it fresh. You need to be relentlessly telling your story continuously on a continuous basis to different people all the time. That's the way to spread the message. That's the way to grow your community and grow your client base and grow your customer base and get more people into your space, is by telling your story. Your real, true life story of how you fell into times of adversity and you fell into pitfalls and how you overcame them. But also, and this is something that not a lot of people talk about, how you are still today experiencing those adversities, still to this day. And the reason why I say that is because it's a lot more motivational to follow someone who is a few steps ahead, but they're still on the journey, they're still on the path, than someone telling you that they've completed it, they're the ultimate version of themselves, they're 100% perfect, and they never need to worry about anything else again in their lives, because that person doesn't fucking exist. I'm telling you that right now. Because every time you get to a new level in your life and a new stage, it comes with new challenges. It comes with new problems. It wasn't that long ago. And again, I'm always just going to tell you whatever's in my fucking head, right? And I'm always going to tell you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what's real to me. When I was a postman, so we're talking like about 5 years ago, just over, I was making £267 a week, okay? And 167 was my rent. And £100 a week I needed to spend on bills and food. And I did that for a couple of years. And when I first became a coach, I said to myself, if I could just make the same £267 a week, but instead of delivering the mail, I can stay at home and I can deliver these coaching sessions face to face, and I can add value to people's lives, and I can make that money by just maybe doing, a couple of coaching sessions a week, then I'll be happy, right? Then that's it. Life complete. I won't need anything more than that. Now, naturally, of course, what happens is you progress through life and you reach the next stage, and that comes with its own challenges. And then all of a sudden you look back and you think, oh my God, I remember saying I would just be happy if I made £267 a week just so I didn't have to deliver the fucking post anymore. And now, obviously, my goals are a lot bigger. That's just natural evolution, right? Look at Emma. Emma says, Liam, is this you telling your story on repeat? Yes, it is, Emma. Yes, it is. You're picking up on it. Well done. Because there are always going to be new people listening, right? Well done. I like that. So that's it, right? But then, of course, there are new challenges. So what I'm saying is share your adversities, share your setbacks, share what you're thinking, share what you're feeling, and let people know that you are still on the journey now, right? You're not the perfect person. You're not the complete article, whatever. You're still on the journey. So tell your story, tell it openly, tell it honestly, tell it with passion, tell it with emotion, tell the ugly bits, because those are the bits that people can really fucking relate to. Trust me on that. Tell the bits that don't put you in a good light. Tell the struggles. Tell your story, okay? That possibly is a reason, the fourth reason why your coaching business isn't where it is today. Don't just tell it once and say, what happened? It didn't work. Relentlessly tell it, okay? The fifth and final reason is that upon generating those paying clients, you have to be solely focused on adding value to their lives and not focused on how much money you can make, Not focused on how many sessions have we got left, how much more time is there on the clock. 100% focused on what do I need to ask this person? What technique do I need to do? How can I add value to their lives? Maximum value in the area that they need me to add maximum value. Because I tell you what, before where I said you need part A and you need part B. The reason why this is important is because earlier when I said you need part A and you need part B, right? Part A is knowing how to coach people and part B is knowing how to make money as a coach. I also know a lot of people that have part B and they don't have part A. They know how to generate paying clients and they know how to build a business. But then when they get those clients, they've got no fucking idea how to add value to their lives. That will equally result in that coaching business not working, right? It seems a bit more obvious or whatever. But again, we cannot forget the end of the journey. We can't forget the final piece of the puzzle. It's a very important piece of the puzzle that we absolutely must add value to the lives of our clients once we get them, because that is how they're going to continue working with us. And that is how you're going to be able to build up a good reputation. So just to summarize, 5 reasons as to why your coaching business isn't working, or just between me and you, now you're listening, why it maybe potentially isn't working, is point number 1, always ensure that you have learned from people who have actually done it. And don't just teach it. They've actually done it, right? And they can show you that they've done it. Point number 2, you absolutely must have a specific niche in which you work in to be a specialist and not a generalist. Point number 3 is you absolutely must endeavor to build up your authority inside of that niche to become known as the go-to person inside of that niche. Point number 4, part of the way that you do that is by relentlessly telling your story and telling people why you're the authority inside of that niche, not waiting for them to figure it out, but telling them why. And point number 5 is once you generate those clients, you need to relentlessly add value to their lives and not just focus on where the next client is coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was helpful. Everybody inside of Coaching Mastery, I love you. You're amazing. I appreciate all your comments. I do look at them as I'm delivering this. I've kind of got like half my brain delivering the content and half the brain reading the comments, so I appreciate that. Those people that are listening to the podcast or on Power Hour inside of Coaching Mastery that have not yet joined the Coaching Masters membership, what I want you to do is I want you to click the link that is in the description of the live or the podcast, book your completely free strategy call, and you will talk to our membership advisors here at TCM, and they will be able to talk to you all about the membership and what it entails and how you can become a member and all of that stuff, right? So if you're listening to this and you're not yet a member, hopefully you've listened to this and you've thought, holy fucking shit, why am I not a member? I need to go and learn from these guys. And make sure you click that link in the description of this live or the podcast episode, book that free strategy call, go and talk to our membership advisors and become a member. It's $10 a month, right? It's like £7. It's like £7. It's like $10 a month. And it's packed with value. Absolutely packed. So anyway, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Vanessa in the comments said, we love you, Liam. I love you too. I love you, Vanessa. I love everybody that's here. I love you, Vanessa, Rob, Karina, Julie, Ellen, Sandra, Paul, Melinda, Bettina, Dana, Natasha, Leanne, Claire. I love you all. You're amazing. Jim, Lindsay, everyone, Monica that's here, Emma that's here. I've got to run now because we're going to go and do TCM TV. Keep coaching your way to freedom. Mwah. And I will speak to you all very, very soon.